Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome every brother and sister from all around the world in new program FlashBack, where we talk about some of the incidents and events in the past to learn from. In this episode, we're going to talk about something that we are missing in so many of our countries, especially the Muslim world, and we would like to fix these mistakes, inshallah. This is about justice for the ruler and for anybody who is under his ruling, like by the normal people, and even it's not just by the leader as a president. We're talking also about like if you're a manager, if you are at your home, even if you have two people under your you can say management, you have to be just and you have to be merciful. We have a story of Umar ibn Abdul Aziz and one of his employee who is working under him. We're going to know some of the details about that, but before this we would like to welcome Sheikh Rifat. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh Rifat.
Alaikum assalam.
Very happy to see you again.
Having me.
It's really interesting topic here, Sheikh Rifat, about justice and mercy, especially when it comes to people who has no power, because it's easy for some people to say and claim, I'm merciful, I'm just, but when they have the opportunity to crush those who are under them, it can be like even sometimes justified. And I'm doing this for the greater good. And some of the leaders even in the West, like in the World War II and so on, they said this, we're doing this as ethnic cleansing. They call it like very nice names as maybe an excuse to do bad things. But we as Muslims, as we said in previous episodes, we have different approach when we deal with our life. We don't see it as materialistic, we don't see it as a means in itself. We see that it's not everything. So we would like, before talking about this story, to say, Sheikh Rifat, what should we say to anybody who has the power over people?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The topic itself, it's very touching because we face this in our daily life. We see many people are actually being oppressed just because they are under the authority of someone who's really tough and harsh. And we always tell the people that is, subhanAllah, whenever you take the path of being soft and kind, it's definitely much better than taking the path of people who are tough and harsh and they are really cruel in the way that they deal with those who are under them. And we remind them with the hadith that إِنَّمَا يَرْحَمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الرُّحَمَاء. Allah has, subhanahu wa ta'ala, is so merciful with those who are actually merciful with others. So whenever somebody is in a leadership position, or he's a supervisor or a post or a president or a ruler in general, and whatever he is, or even a husband in his wife, in his house, you know, with his family, with his wife, who's supposed to be weak, and he's the one who's supposed to be merciful and soft. So that kind of treatment with these people, it's supposed to be very soft and kind, because anyone who's aggressive or assault people just because of his power or he's stronger than them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not definitely going to be merciful with them. As the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man la yarham la yurham." Whoever is not merciful with people, Allah is not going to be merciful with them. So this is very general for anyone. If you are at any position, I'm just telling my brothers and sisters, at any position, if you are in any position or power, just be careful. Allah is watching you. Do not use your power, your strength to assault people or to just crush them just because they are under you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching, and definitely in a situation you will be treated the same way. So usually we will be paid back for whatsoever we do. Whatever we do for people, someone else, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send, and they will do that for us. So we have to be very careful with this.
And even if somebody said, like Sheikh Rifat, like I have the government in my pocket, or I have the
yes,
rich
you have all the
in
means.
Yes, even the payback, maybe it's not physical. Maybe it's like a very, like you can say, sad life. He's attached like to the materialistic world in the way as a punishment. And he feels like, I cannot live except by being power hungry. Yes, and he has to be like power hungry and having more power, and it doesn't saturate him. It doesn't make the person feel like satisfied at all.
Yes, there are kind of people who are doing that, or who are actually love to do that, and they'd like to have always a higher hand or a strong stick in their hand, so that they will make the people always scared from them. This is definitely not the manner that Islam encourages. The Prophet ﷺ, see, Allah sent him as a mercy to mankind. Look at his companions and the khulafa after him. They were really, really kind and soft when they deal with the people in general. But definitely there is time that the person should be strong and show strength, because that is something needed also. in case of anything that is حدود الله عز وجل is انتهكت, is not respected, then the person in charge, he has to be really strong and powerful with those who assault, not with the general people, the public. The public should be always treated with kindness and softness, and the people is better to as we will have in the story, inshallah. I think we should go to the story because that will open up for us how to deal with people in certain situations when you are in power, when you are in a leadership position. In a leadership position, it's an amana. Allah Azza wa Jal did not put people in charge just so they can enjoy having themselves in power and authority, or to use their strength against the weak people. No, Allah Azza wa Jal has put us in different positions so that He will see what is our reaction to what we have, and that's itself, it's a blessing. To be in a leadership position, it's a blessing. And Allah Azza wa Jal is going to ask that person who was in charge about what he had under him. As the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentioned in the very famous hadith, كُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ وَكُلُّكُمْ مَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهِ. All of you are shepherds, are principals, and everybody will be responsible or asked about his responsibility. We will be questioned. Allah said that, وَقِفُوهُمْ إِنَّهُمْ مَسْئُولُونَ. We will stand before Allah, and Allah is going to ask us about what we have. And He said, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, in this same hadith, about the people who are in power, people who are in leadership position. He said, Al-Imamu ra'in wa huwa mas'ulun an ra'iyati. Al-Imam, the person who's in leadership position. Doesn't mean the Imam in the masjid, but Imam is the person who's in charge, like Amir al-Mu'mineen, Khalifa, a king, whatever name they give to themselves, president, prime minister, minister, so on and so forth. Anyone in his position, he is considered to be an Imam, and he's responsible for people under him. And if he treated them justly and kindly and softly, definitely that will affect him in Akhirah and in Dunya. People will love him, people will respect him, people will be they will pray for him. Yani, subhanAllah, when you are in a position, you want people to pray for you, not against you. So if I'm in a leadership position, I should actually ask Allah that to make people happy with me so that they will pray for me instead. And definitely this is happening in many sectors and many fields. You will see people, when somebody leaves, they will pray for him, say, MashaAllah, he was so nice, he was so soft, he never said to something that we do or become aggressive or punished anyone. He was a kind man. And on the other side, you will find people when somebody leaves his position, they are very happy. They actually distribute sweet because somebody left. As we say in the Egyptian slang, the people say, so we will break the jar after they leave. Why? Because they left, alhamdulillah, so we got rid of them. So we want people to say that is, alhamdulillah, this person is whoever is in charge is very kind and soft and merciful, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we ask to be merciful with him just because of what he had. So being in a responsibility position is a great amana. A person is supposed to be really very careful about it. Definitely a man also in his house is a leader, in a leadership position, so he should be very merciful and kind with his wife, who have left her family, and she came to him to live with him. So I don't use my power as a man and to be aggressive against that weak woman who just came to my house and she has become my wife and taking care of my children. And in some cases, some people are very, for example, they are not treating them very well, respectfully and soft, and instead they are actually aggressive and assault. This is definitely against the teachings of Islam. Islam encourages us to be soft and kind, and alhamdulillah that Allah Azza wa Jal has blessed us with this. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said about that too, when we talk about the issue of responsibility, he said, وَالرَّجُلُ فِي بَيْتِهِ رَاعٍ وَمَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهِ. The man in his house, he's a shepherd, he's a principal, and he should be very, very careful because Allah will ask him about his responsibility. On the other side, the woman too. The woman is also in that position of responsibility. She must be kind, just, she must be soft, take care of whatever her husband will leave for her, and take care of her house and herself as a woman and her children. That is the amana that she has actually accepted, and that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala connected her with that man. So we need to be very, very careful about what we have under our leadership.
So we can say like it's an expansion of the term itself of a leader or a ruler. Yes. Not just a president.
So yeah, exactly. So the leadership is not only for the people who are like in a high position, like ministers or prime ministers or presidents or people in any position at anywhere. So, but definitely those who are in higher positions, their responsibility is higher, and Allah will ask them even more and more. So that's why these people at any time, if they do really wrong to the people who are under them, or made their life difficult for those people, or punish people, or hit them, or use their soldiers in order to assault them, let them look back at Pharaoh, let them look back at those who were before, and Allah, what Allah did for them. Those people, we want to let them know that the life that we live, it's very short, and they have a term. And if any one of them has a permanent term, it will never reach to them.
Yes.
So we want to let them know that you have a short time that you live as a person in a charge, and very soon Allah Azza wa Jal will take you away and put someone else. So the time that you are living as in a charge, be careful, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to punish you if you did wrong, and if you did good and you made the life easy for people, definitely Allah will make your life easy as well.
That's really amazing, and that's interesting. We'd like to know also about the story, Sheikh Rifat. What happened in that practical story?
The story is actually Sayyidina Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, a very famous, actually the scholars, the historians, they considered him to be the fifth just Khalifa, right? So why they consider him to be just Khalifa after like a gap between Sayyidina Ali and Sayyidina Umar ibn Abdul Aziz? There was a gap of many other Khulafa who came, the rulers of the Muslim Ummah at the time. So Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, he was a very unique person. He resembled the character of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, and Sayyidina Ali, Sayyidina Uthman, in the way that he was dealing with people. He was a very just person. He himself did not take for himself and his family, and as we mentioned in previous episodes about when he died, he's actually left behind him only 18 dinars, only 18. So imagine nowadays we see 18 billions, 60 billions, and we hear numbers. Subhanallah, what I will do with this. I remember one of the brothers when he was talking about his house, so and it was mentioned about someone from these people who are in higher positions, that he left behind him palaces and big buildings and like a very beautiful apartment in that capital and in another capital in different places. He said, subhanallah, I have 2-bedroom apartments and I don't have time to sit in my balcony. So what happens here is the person is supposed to be really caring about what he has, and it's not about having too much stuff, it's about satisfaction, rida, and also to make people who are next to me very happy and to enjoy the life we live. So Sayyidina Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, he was a great example like that. So he left behind him only 18 dinar, and for how many children he had at that time? He had 11 sons. 11 sons. So they distributed for his funeral and whatever he left behind. 9 of them were already given for his funeral and other things, and only 9 left for the 11 sons.
That's really interesting, Sheikh, and we would like to know more about the story, what happened exactly in this story about the mercy and justice and so on. We're going to take a short break and come back. So dear brothers and sisters, we're going to come back and talk about this interesting story of Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. Stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back, dear brothers and sisters. We're talking about justice and mercy of the ruler or any leader, and we stopped with Sheikh Rifat in the story of Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, and we would like to know what happened in this story. We're interested to know.
Bismillah. Definitely that's a beautiful story, and it's when you speak about Sayyidina Umar ibn Abdul Aziz himself, it's bring you back to the glory of the Muslim nation. When the ruler is just, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give plenty of blessings to the nation of Islam, because it comes from the top. So when the top person is really a God-fearing person, as someone who is righteous, definitely Allah Azza wa Jal will make the people under him and everything will be in a good shape. So we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings us as people, as shu'ub, to be good and righteous, so that Allah will give us also good rulers as well. And we pray for our rulers to be good and to be humble, and that they take care of the people who are next to them and under them, and to be soft and kind, as the case of Sayyidina Umar. The story about Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, Sayyidina Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, is that he he commanded his rulers, and that when we have a president, definitely has supervisors for each, or a state president for each corner of his kingdom or his leader under his leadership. So he used to send to his commanders who take care of certain areas in different places to be merciful with people and to be soft and not to punish people or hit them for any reason. So Sayyidina Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, he actually sent that message to many of his commanders. So one of them asked Sayyidina Umar, that person he was Adi ibn Arta'a. Adi ibn Arta'a, he was the ruler of Al-Basra. And Al-Basra is a state in Iraq, as we know. At that time, Adi ibn Arta'a, he sent a message to Umar ibn Abdul Aziz asking his approval if he can actually use some sort of punishment for some people who refuse to pay the tax. So he was really asking something really big. So he wanted to request that from the top leadership, and that was Sayyidina Umar as the Prince of the Believers. So he sent his message asking that request. So Sayyidina Umar wrote back to him and said to him, العجب كل العجب مما أردت مني. يعني I'm so wonder for what you're asking me to give permission for what? Do you think that if I give you permission that you punish people to pay you the tax, that will save you from Allah's punishment in the hereafter? Do you think that I am a safety for you? أتعتقد أني جنة لك من عذاب الله? Do you think that I am a protection for you from the punishment of Allah in the hellfire if you will do that? Or do you think that I am pleased with you, I'm happy with you? Because now some rulers are happy when the people under them are aggressive and they're really tough on people. This is dangerous. So he said, or do you think that my pleasure, my satisfaction with you will be intercession for you in the day of judgment? Definitely it's not. So he told him that it is better for me that you accept from people who come tawa'iyatan, they come with their hearts open and they give you the tax, and those who reject or those who are unable to pay, let them swear that they are unable to pay, and it's better for me that they meet Allah Azza wa Jal with their felony, with being dishonest, and instead of me punishing them or hating them. So you see what he did? He said, I accept them to swear that they don't have or they are unable to pay, and instead of us punishing them, let them deal with that when they meet Allah Azza wa Jal. So you know what? So if somebody is unable to pay the tax, or try to cheat, or try to hide, that person, Allah will deal with him in the day of judgment. That is better for Umar, for Sayyidina Umar, than he punishes them or put them in jail or torture them. That is definitely much better. So he said, this is what I will prefer, and this is what I want you to do. And from that time, never in the time of Sayyidina Umar ibn Abdul Aziz that we hear a story of someone who was tortured or punished as compared to other times of other rulers, and in our time too. So we ask and we recommend whoever is in a charge anywhere as a person whom Allah has selected to be in a charge, that person is really under a monitor, and Allah is going to ask them about whatever little or whatever big they have done in their lifetime. So we need to be very careful and advise each other always.
Yeah, that's really amazing, Sheikh Rafat. What about the opposite? Like we have a warning from Prophet Muhammad of two kinds of people, two types that he saw when he went to the journey of Al-Isra and Mi'raj, the night journey to the sky. And he said that I saw two types of people that I never saw in real life. That means that those types weren't like there at the time of Prophet Muhammad. So we would like to know about both of them, especially the one related to our topic.
Yeah, the one related to our topic, I believe you want to say about like some rulers who will come later. They have sticks, looks like the tail of an animal, and they hit people with it. They torture people with it. That is the people who are. So that's why we tell our brothers and sisters who work in the police field or work in security fields, and they are actually in charge of monitoring people or running behind those or chase those who do criminals. Yes. So we tell them that is to be careful, so you don't punish or torture anyone with no reason and without proof, because Allah Azza wa Jal is going to have that kind of people punished in the hereafter. As the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he talked, "Sinfani min ahli an-nari lam arahuma." Yani he didn't see them in his lifetime. Lam arahuma, and one of them is this kind: the people who are in charge of security or police, and they're doing policing job, and they actually punish people or torture them for no reason, or they hit them in a very aggressive way. We tell our brothers and sisters who work in these fields, or anyone who's in charge, just be careful, because whatsoever you do now, it definitely is not gonna go like that. Yes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to take revenge for anyone who was murdered unjustly murdered, or someone who was hanged, or someone who was killed or shot or tortured. All of that will be taken care by Allah Azza wa Jalla in the Day of Judgment. And Allah will bring the victim to take revenge from the one who assaulted him or murdered him in dunya. The same way it will happen. So if I assault someone, what I will do to the people is definitely what will happen to me when I meet Allah. So that's why be careful. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in one hadith, he said even Allah will bring the animals until Allah Azza wa Jalla will take revenge for the weak animal from the animal that assaulted them. And then they will be perished as a sand. So even that, the justice is there, and Allah commanded justice. And that's a verse we hear every Friday from the Imams. When they give the khutbah, the khatibs, they say the ayah, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْمُرُ بِالْعَدْلِ وَالْإِحْسَانِ وَإِيتَاءِ ذِي الْقُرْبَى وَيَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنْكَرِ وَالْبَغْيِ. So if we see the three commands of Allah Azza wa Jal, one of them is al-adl. Allah commands justice, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wal-ihsan, which is to be soft and kind and to deal with the top perfect way of dealing. Because otherwise, Allah Azza wa Jal is going to punish definitely people who stay away of these three. And on the other side, Allah prohibited what? Allah prohibited al-fahsha, any major sin, wal-munkar, any unjustly or enjoining what is wrong. And in the end, he said, wal-baghi. And al-baghi, it means oppression, zulm. When we do zulm to anyone, just because of the position they are in, or they are weak, or they are servants, or they are under our leadership, so we just keep ruh ta'ala, whatever we hear from the people in charge is definitely wrong, and it's a big mistake. And we ask Allah to save us from that kind.
Ameen. I remember something here, Sheikh Rifat, at the time of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, at the Battle of Badr, before the Battle of Badr, when one of the Quraysh people, he was captured by the companions, and they tried to start beating him. And Prophet Muhammad stopped them when he saw them doing that. And he told them something like, it should be written in gold. He told them, if you do this, you're not even going to have the right answer from him. So even if, for the practical reasons, if they are doing this to get the right answer, they're going to say just anything to get rid of the punishment.
Right. We see that, and Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he warned, right? So he warned, and he said, if you are trying to take words that you wish to hear from the victim, that definitely will not benefit the people who collect the information. Because definitely this is something, it's unfortunately, we see it in our time, in the era of electronics and the easy access that the people can reach to one another very fast. We see that in certain areas in the world, we see people are punished just because of their faith, or because of their beliefs, or because of their political thoughts, or because of the parties that they belong to, and so on and so forth. We encourage this world because Allah is the one who set up this world. And nothing will move away from this world except that Allah will take revenge for any of the victims who have faced any of the troubles in this world. So that's why we encourage ourselves and our brothers and sisters and those who are direct near to us, please stop any unjust way of dealing with people, or torturing them, or hitting them in order to take something, or to push them to say something. That is definitely going to be taken care by Allah. So may Allah protect us.
Ameen. Thank you so much, Sheikh Rifat. The time is up as usual. Thank you. And we thank you, dear brothers and sisters, and we hope that you'll learn from the lessons of justice and mercy and fairness with everyone in all our lives. Thank you so much. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.